Perhaps it would be better if you don't try that yourself. But if you want to check out this interesting travel guitar, well, why don't you stick around? So we're doing something a little bit different today. I'm going to combine music creation with traveling. Yes, my wife and I did the annual ship our kids off to summer camp while we jump in the convertible and head a few hours north and west of Toronto, Canada, checking out beautiful Ontario. And I brought this along for the ride. This is the Donner Hush travel guitar. I've always wanted a travel guitar because the last thing I'll ever do is take one of my prized possessions and throw it into the belly of an airplane, even though traveling by car, sometimes the guitar gets in the way. But it really sucks not having a guitar when you're traveling, at least for me. Now, I have to tell you, I'm not a sit by a campfire type of guitar player. I like to write and record songs. So I'm going to bring along my laptop and my audio interface, and now those are going to stay in the hotel. But we hit all kinds of cool destinations. We were on boats, we were on islands, and we'll see what kind of inspiration got me. And then when I got back to the hotel, I was able to lay down some tracks and ultimately came up with a song, which I did a final mix here in my studio, but all created with the Donner Hush guitar. So I'm going to give you the specs of this guitar. I'm going to share the results of our traveling experience, and I'm going to give you my 100% transparent pros and cons and whether I think this guitar is worth your hard-earned dollars, because ultimately that's what counts, and that's what I'm doing today. Sound good? Let's ride. The Donner Hush guitar is a very compact 6-string acoustic-styled guitar with some interesting features. Billed as a hush guitar because of its onboard preamp and the ability to mix your playing with music from your phone or media player. However, being an acoustic instrument, it does have its own acoustic properties. Here's how it sounds with the camera mic about 2 feet away. From 6 feet away. And from about 10 feet away. The neck has an asymmetrical neck profile with a smooth polished finish. The fretboard has 20 rounded edge frets with a very smooth finish along the edges. The onboard preamp, powered by a single 9-volt battery, allows you to plug in the supplied earbuds or your own headphones to the mini headphone jack. You can also connect your phone or media player for almost silent jam sessions. There is a volume control as well as bass and treble controls. And there's an anti-phase button for canceling feedback in a live situation. Removable frames are a great design feature of the guitar. They make it much easier when playing sitting down while keeping the guitar very compact when traveling. Another clever design feature of the Hush guitar is the hidden Allen key, which is used to adjust the truss rod and for these very cool tuners in the body of the guitar. These are high quality tuners that contribute to good tuning stability. Oh, and the Allen key compartment is magnetized so it won't easily fall out of the guitar, as long as you always remember to put it back in. And the Hush guitar comes with this very convenient carry case, and the strap doubles as a guitar strap. All right, it's time to check out my little creation from the road. So I lugged this thing with me everywhere I went and came up with some ideas and just, messed around a little bit. And then when I get back to the hotel, I laid down some tracks and some ideas and brought it all back here and ultimately finished it here in my studio. But when you're listening to it, note, with the exception of drums, of course, everything you hear was recorded with this. Even bass guitar, lay down some bass lines, use a pitch filter. I tried all sorts of different textures, dirty textures, clean, all sorts of stuff all blended together. So why don't we take a listen to that, and then on the other side, I'm going to share my experience with the Donner Hush travel guitar. Hey, if you're enjoying the video, maybe you consider clicking the like button. You know, that simple gesture goes a long way to helping the channel, and I really appreciate that. So overall, I really like the design of this guitar. It's a very interesting looking instrument, certainly a conversation starter, but a lot of thought definitely went in to creating this guitar without a doubt. So let's start off with the things that I really enjoyed about this guitar, aside from the overall aesthetic. The idea of these frames here, really like that. I mean, it's a really small body, almost like a Steinberger kind of shape. So sitting down, it would be awkward to play, but this sort of implies a full body guitar, so it can sit nicely on your lap. So I think this is a really ingenious idea, pretty easy to install. Now, you don't necessarily need to use these. A brilliant feature of this guitar is actually the case. The strap on the case doubles as a guitar strap. I mean, why bring a second strap when you've already got one? They designed it really cool, hooks onto the case, but then there's the holes for the strap buttons over here. Really brilliant idea. Really love that. Now there's an Allen key that sits here hidden in the body here. This is really handy. You can use this for, you know, the truss rod adjustment. You can use it to tighten up the frames here. And it also works on the tuners here because these are kind of hard to twist on their own. So you just put the Allen key in there and you can tune pretty easy. And it just sits in here. Don't lose it. I almost lost it twice, but it's a really great idea to tuck it in here. Now, speaking of the tuners, this is obviously a headless design. It keeps it a lot more compact. We've got this sort of metal bracket here on the end with a hook. You can conveniently hang it in your studio or wherever. You've got a 0 fret nut on this side, but the tuners are sitting over here. And I have to tell you, they're well-built tuners. They're pretty solid. You definitely need that Allen key to get in there. They're kind of hard to twist on their own, but really solid construction to these tuners. Considering this is a low-cost guitar, I was really impressed with these, that's for sure. And the other thing worth mentioning, and admittedly I didn't use it a lot, but this built-in amplifier certainly adds some convenience. You can plug in a media player here or your phone and headphones here so you can jam along reasonably silently, of course with the sound of the guitar itself. But it's really convenient to have this because I know I like practicing and jamming to backing tracks and things like that, so you can hook up YouTube or whatever. And it's a really convenient feature, and it's powered by a single battery, and that comes in handy. Now, I didn't use that a lot. There is an output jack here, which I use to record with, but certainly it does come with the earbuds as well. So just for the convenience of being able to hear yourself in headphones, you've got the built-in amplifier, and definitely a useful feature. Well, with the good comes some not so good. So let's talk about that. Now, I talked about this frame, and I love the design, and I love the concept with this. But one problem that I did have with this is how it fastens to the guitar. Now, they pop in really easily, but there's these screws. They are attached to the frame. You got to unscrew them. You got to pop this thing in, and then you got to screw it in through the frame. You can use the built-in Allen key here, which is certainly convenient. But, you know, if you're at home and something like that, it's not a big deal. But it's worth noting that when you have these wings or this frame on, it doesn't fit in the case. So if you're traveling around, you need to take them off. Now, when you're in when I was on a boat or was on an island and I just wanted to pull out the guitar, it just wasn't convenient to, find the screw, take it apart, pop it in. While I was on Flower Pot Island, I actually dropped the screw a couple of times. I could have lost it, and these are custom for this frame. So I really wish there was some kind of fastener built into the body. Maybe that's something they can think about in a future version of this guitar. I don't think it would take much to have a little twist or something, a pop in here, a button release, just to have the fasteners built into the body. This way we wouldn't have to worry about losing these little screws, and it would be easy to pop it out of the bag, pop them in, and start rock and rolling. But I found it really inconvenient, so sometimes you'll notice that I just went without it. Now, if you're using the strap, as I said, a great feature of the guitar, but if you want to use the frames, it's just, if you're in a remote place, I found it a little bit inconvenient. So love the frame, I just don't like how it's attached to the body. Donner, something worth thinking about for the future. Another thing I want to talk about, well, I do like this built-in amplifier. It's kind of dry as a bone because this is an acoustic guitar, but there's no sound hole. So when you listen to it with headphones, it's just really dry. I really wish there was some kind of reverb, the cheapest reverb on the planet, I don't care. It's just when you're listening to it and with earbuds, it's just really present and in your face, and there's just no atmosphere whatsoever. I would even trade in the built-in EQ here, make it a tone knob, and just give us a little bit of reverb, just something to make it a little more enjoyable. I found I didn't use it a lot because of that. Now, I did have my laptop there, and I was playing in my hotel room, so I could plug into the computer. And like I said, if you're at home, you can easily remedy that. But I didn't want to lug around, a reverb pedal, especially if you're traveling around, things like that. So it would be really nice. Added feature, perhaps in the future, is if they could add some kind of reverb to this. Now, I do understand they want to keep the cost down, and that's important. You put too many features. For me, it's unenjoyable playing without any atmosphere at all. It was just too present. So while this is a very convenient feature of the guitar, I really miss that it didn't have some kind of reverb. And the other thing I want to talk about, I don't want to say it's a con, but it's certainly something to think about, is the playability of this neck. Now, the action out of the box was pretty high. You can almost drive a bus under there. And it is adjustable. There is a truss rod adjustment here. Perhaps I could file the bridge here, but I wasn't completely sure and I didn't want to mess around with that on the road. Now, I don't expect this to play as great as maybe the worst of my best guitars. That's not something I'd be looking for in something like this. This is not my main instrument. And like I said, having this versus not having this, this wins every time. But I found myself struggling a little bit, especially up and around the 12th fret here. The action got a little bit high. I really had to fight it sometimes to get it to do what I wanted on here. And like I said, perhaps it's adjustable. I don't know if it's just this particular unit, but the action is quite high. It's a pretty chunky neck on here. Again, not a deal breaker, but something worth noting that I did struggle a little bit on certain parts. Now, when I'm practicing, I generally like to play on a guitar that's a bit harder to play anyways, because some of my guitars are just, the action is so low, it's just too easy. So it's a good workout for your fingers, so that is definitely a plus. But I did want to note that the action on here is not the best. Well, we take the good with the bad, but overall, I think there's great value in this guitar. I mean, certain things I think could be improved, but obviously cost is a consideration when you're looking at a budget travel guitar. Some of them are a lot more expensive than this, and I think you get a lot of great features comparing it head to head with some travel guitars that cost a lot more money. So definitely worth checking this one out, but I had a lot of fun. I really enjoyed having it with me. It certainly beat not having it. And if you're traveling by plane, or I mean, you could fit this in your luggage. It's really pretty much that small, and you have almost that full scale neck. So certainly great to lug around. I had a lot of fun with it. And considering it's already inexpensive, Donner has given me a special promo code. If you purchase this guitar at Donner's website, I'll put a link in the description. If you use the promo code LRocker, they're going to give you an additional discount, making it even more affordable. So what can I say? And by the way, I am not getting any kickbacks for this. I'm not getting paid for this video. That promo code is courtesy from me to you. So if you do pick up this guitar, you can save a little bit of money. So if you do grab it, please do let me know. If you have any thoughts, any questions, anything at all, that's what the comment section is for. I love hearing from you. But if you really did enjoy this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. If you want to support this channel, there's a number of ways you can do that. If you check the description, I've got all sorts of affiliate links. Click on any of those links. It doesn't cost you anything extra if you purchase something, but it does kick a little bit back to the studio and helps me make more content just like this, and I really appreciate that. I'm on Patreon if you want to have a direct conversation with me. I've got merch. It's all in the description. Every little bit helps, and I really appreciate that. But the easiest way to support this channel is simply watching another video, and I've got one waiting for you right here. And remember, you don't need a band to rock and roll. I look forward to seeing you again in another video.